We're joined from London today by Afif Safieh, former Palestinian diplomat and former ambassador to the United Kingdom and Washington, D.C. What do you make of that? Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer told Parliament on Tuesday that the level of suffering in Gaza is utterly intolerable and that he was horrified by the escalation by Israel. Will the threats of action against Israel by three of its key allies, Britain, France and Canada, make any difference to what's happening on the ground right now?
I think it will start making a difference from now on, even though it's long overdue. I believe that our generation would be asked in the future, how was this all allowed to happen? 600 days of an unnecessary bombardment, a genocide which we were watching, unbearable images day after day. I personally believe that international pressure is necessary more than before. And I believe that some rumblings on Capitol Hill by Netanyahu's useless lackeys have been also influential on Netanyahu, allowing a little bit of the humanitarian aid to trickle in. But what is needed today is, one, to liberate UNRWA, which is an institution capable of distributing aid and has the capability and the personnel and the warehouses and the schools, etc. We need to have bulldozers allowed in, caravans, tents of different sizes, so that classes and teaching can resume. And we need to have food arriving at the areas where people are still present, and not in certain areas that the Israelis would like to drive the population towards. I believe that the Israeli game is now obvious to everybody who wants to admit it. They want to make Gaza totally unlivable, just as they did in 1948. In 1948, they leveled to the ground 518 villages immediately, so that not to allow the exercise of the right of return to be possible. Now they are making Gaza unlivable. Over 90% of buildings have been totally destroyed and damaged, and the world has allowed it to happen. As a diplomat, sir, I feel ashamed, because war for 600 unnecessary days is the failure of diplomacy. And let me tell you very frankly, I'm really disappointed and distressed that a weakened Trump, when he came to visit the Arab countries, the three Arab countries, he was weakened by the blunders of his first 100 chaotic days, where he blundered towards Mexico, Canada, the European allies, etc. And on the economic level, international chaos in the global market, he was in a listening mood. Unfortunately, the leaders of Saudi Arabia, of Qatar, of the Arab Emirates did not tell him the depth of feeling in Arab and Muslim public opinion. And I believe, had he conveyed that message, Trump was in a listening mood, but unfortunately. And I'm angry as a diplomat and an Arab.
Let's get back to the Trump administration. After securing the release of a dual US-Israeli captive last week, there'd been hopes that President Trump would be able to broker a ceasefire. That didn't happen. Trump didn't visit Israel when he was in the region last week. And as soon as he'd left the region, Israel launched this major new ground offensive. What are we to make of all of this? What's going on behind the scenes? Is there a rift between the White House and Israel? Is the Trump administration putting any pressure at all on Israel to end this war?
You know, each time we are promised from Washington pressure on the Israeli side, it turns out to be as though America has the political weight of Luxembourg or Liechtenstein. No, I believe that they have a complicated relationship, Trump and Netanyahu. Yet it's with American support that Netanyahu has waged the war, from the Biden administration previously, now with the Trump administration. I personally believe that the key is in Washington, and somebody, the Arab leaders, have to tell Trump that in a world where America is a dominant power, aligning themselves on one belligerent party in a regional conflict not only alienates all the other players in the region, but also offends and alienates part of the domestic American social fabric. It isn't easy to be a Palestinian American. It isn't easy today to be an Arab American, a Muslim American, and even a Jewish American, because there have been changes within the American Jewish community that are very constructive. I'm deeply moved by all those demonstrations that occur regularly in Washington and in New York by Jewish institutions and individuals who say, not in our name. Trump should become aware of the changing landscape. In America itself, opinion polls show that even within the Republican ranks, there are people who are extremely uncomfortable with Israeli policies and practices and misbehavior. And I would like to remind Mr. Trump that in 2015, when he started to launch his first presidential bid during the Republican primaries, he spoke of a neutral America in the Middle East. It's unfortunate that then he was embraced by some pro-Israeli oligarchs and the Christian evangelicals, and then he changed the tone and the tune. I think we should remind him of his political message of American neutrality in regional conflicts, a message that he carried in 2015 and allowed him to win several primaries, which means that there is a substantial body of people within Republican ranks who would favor that type of policy of non-Israeli alignment. And the key is there. This is why I'm distressed as an Arab that of the failure of the Arab Summit meeting a few days ago, where Arab leaders competed on who will not be attending. While it's an important historical moment once a year where they could have shown their message. And I believe in international relations, we should always emphasize that the international will should prevail on a national whim or a personal will.
Okay.